a dancehall legend silenced, a New York mystery unsolved. Nardo Ranks didn't just fade away, he was taken. Who wanted him gone? Why did his fire burn out too soon? Stick to the end to uncover the shocking truth behind his death. This isn't just a story about music, it's a story about murder. The streets of Dunkirk in East Kingston once echoed with a sharp patter of lyrical gunfire from a boy named Gary Henderson. But the world came to know him as Nardo Ranks, a name etched in the concrete of Jamaican dancehall history, like graffiti never meant to fade. He wasn't just a DJ, he was a storm. And yet, on a cold December 22nd in Queens, New York, that storm stilled. The man who once ignited the clubs of Kingston and scorched the airwaves of the East Coast with his unique sound was silenced forever. From the earliest days, Nardo Ranks was molded by chaos and rhythm. Dunkirk wasn't a place for the soft-hearted. It was gritty, volatile, unforgiving. And it was within that heat that he found his voice. 10 years old, barely tall enough to see over the turntable, but already locked in with the pulse of the dance hall. The Caveman sound system became his first battlefield, and by the time 1989 arrived, Gary Henderson had transformed. The debut track, What Happened Sound Boy, recorded with fellow Dunkirk son Wayne Wonder, was less of a song and more of a statement. The kid from McIntyre Villa had arrived, and he didn't come quietly. As the 80s bled into the 90s, Nardo Ranks carved his name deeper into the scene. He didn't just ride rhythms, he weaponized them. There was something volatile in his delivery, something relentless. But it wasn't just rage, it was social fire. When he dropped Demi Bleach, it wasn't just a hit, it was a declaration. A full-throated counterstrike against the growing normalization of skin bleaching, sparked by the controversial Love Me Browning from Buju Banton. Nardo didn't mince words. He spit them like bullets, acidic, unrelenting, and truthful. That track climbed to the top of Jamaica's RJR Top 40 and stayed there for 6 straight weeks. It didn't just chart, it burned. This wasn't accidental. This was curated rebellion. Nardo Ranks wasn't trying to entertain. He was trying to provoke. New York came next. Migration wasn't escape, it was expansion, and Nardo wasted no time. In the streets of Brooklyn and Queens, in the bars and radio shows of Manhattan, his music surged. Rikers Island, Burrup, New Jersey Drive, and Demi Bleach. These weren't mere tracks, they were urban anthems. And they didn't just stay in the dance hall. They leapt into hip-hop spaces, infecting the mixed shows of Kiss FM, bouncing between boroughs, contaminating everything with that signature growl, that unmistakable Kingston cadence. Music industry veteran Murray Elias remembered those days vividly. Nardo, he said, was a juggernaut, a DJ who wasn't supposed to cross over but did anyway. And with every single track, he didn't just cross genres, he blew the borders wide open. Every dancehall record he released was laced with the DNA of rebellion. It was resistance pressed onto vinyl. But Nardo Ranks was never content with one lane. The screen beckoned. He turned to acting, not as a pivot, but as a new weapon. Roles in underground movie hits like Jamaican Mafia and Jump Off weren't attempts at stardom. They were extensions of his character, reflections of the streets that birthed him. These weren't performances. They were testimonies. Even in the age of social media, Nardo wasn't begging for attention. He demanded it. His final Instagram post in October was a quiet call to arms. A clip from Rigid Music's Surface, gritty, raw, undiluted. He asked fans to stream it, not as a plea, but as a reminder. The lion hadn't gone soft. Even in his late 50s, the growl hadn't dulled. His voice still bore the weight of 1,000 street corners and basement studios. But Nardo wasn't just fighting musical battles. He went to war over ownership and respect. In 2020, he took aim at Hoot Celebrity, real name Tina Pinnock, and her track, Run D Road. Nardo claimed it lifted key elements from his 1992 track. His lawsuit wasn't just about money, it was about legacy. $500,000 in damages wasn't just a number, it was a price tag on stolen history. His lawyer didn't pull punches either. Imitation is the highest form of flattery, he said. But what Hoot Celebrity did, that was theft, and theft has consequences. The case rattled the industry, even as some close to the original production seemed caught off guard. But for Nardo, the issue was never confusion. It was erasure. And he wasn't about to be wiped out without a fight. Then silence. Queens, December 22nd. A name that once roared now whispered. Red Fox broke the news, and the echo ricocheted through reggae circles with cruel finality. The man who once made speakers quake was gone. Condolences flooded social media. Not from fans alone, but from warriors who once stood shoulder to shoulder with him in the trenches of sound. The cruel irony wasn't lost. Nardo Ranks, who fought so viciously to be heard, now belonged to the past tense. The tragedy wasn't simply in his death, it was in the timing. There was still more to say, more rhythms to ride, more fire to spit. Yet the microphone dropped before the message was complete. And those who truly knew the force of Gary Henderson felt the loss not as silence, but as a rupture. In the end, who unalived Nardo Ranks in New York? The question hangs like smog over the boroughs. Was it age, circumstance, the unseen hand of fate? Or was it something darker, exhaustion, forgotten legacy, the brutal indifference of an industry that consumes its own profits? What's certain is that the world did not just lose a DJ. It lost a griot, a street preacher, a cultural insurgent who turned every stage into a war zone and every verse into a sermon. And as the beat fades and the last echoes of Burrup dissolve into memory, all that remains is the weight of what he built. Uncompromising, unrelenting, undeniable. Gary Nardo Ranks. Henderson was never chasing stardom. He was building a movement. And now, it's up to those still spinning his tracks, still quoting his lyrics, still living by the rhythm of his resistance, to carry the torch. Because legends don't die in silence. They echo forever. Did Nardo Ranks fall to fate, or was his silence written by hands darker than we're willing to admit? Was his legacy stolen, buried, or simply ignored? Let us know what you believe in the comment section. Speak for the legend. And if you want more untold stories that cut through the noise, don't forget to subscribe.